Hello everyone, what is happening? So let's start taking a look at the markets and see what is happening across the board. So let's start with, of course, Nasdaq 100. So 15,400 current price. Let's go into the 4-hour chart and just see what is happening. So once again trying to test this bottom bar of the channel. Market open downside, trying to recover now, which is good for us. And if we try to look at what is happening, higher low, but the RSI is almost flat. So some bullish divergence on the 4-hour. Hopefully we continue upwards, and we want to go towards the top part of this channel somewhere around here. Now let's check the same thing on the daily chart and trying to cover up this drop today. So we want to get back into the channel. That is very important, and hopefully that will happen today. Now let's take a look at the S&P 500, once again trying to follow this pattern. So this is a very nice pattern in terms of retest, that is in the short term at least. Look at what is happening on the S&P 500, and once again higher low, but RSI almost flat, so little bit bullish divergence over here. However, let me remind everyone that we are actually in this bear flag. If you look at this, so this was the drop and price is in this bear flag now, so we have to be careful that there might be a pump, double top somewhere here, and then try to drop back maybe into the same range, 4370, 4350, and somewhere in this area. Look at this peak in volume available on the right side. So this sort of action is possible on the S&P 500, but for now, yes, market is trying to hold these levels and trying to recover. Let's go into the 4-hour and I will show you what is happening. So downward movement, and then again trying to find support over here. The 4-hour 50 moving average in green is also here, so hopefully finds nice support and tries to bounce from here. So this is Nasdaq and S&P. Let's go into the dollar index, because this is actually very important what is happening over here. So if I zoom out a little bit just to show you, look at this point. So this is the price channel that we are trying to cross and now getting back down. So let me just zoom in and look at these candles. So bearish action can be seen on the daily chart for DXY, and that is exactly what we want to see. Of course, the more DXY will drop, the bigger the pump will be in the US stock market. Now, one thing to be careful of is actually look at what is happening. We had a breakout, then a little bit retest, again breakout. Now there's a chance there might be another retest, 103.75, 103.5, somewhere in this range, and the market might try to bounce from here. So this is very important, because if we see a bounce from this point, so you know what will happen if dollar index is pumping. So that will not be good for the US stock market. Now there is another thing, which is the market is making a higher high, but RSI is flat, so bearish divergences are there, and we are seeing some sort of a pullback over here. Not a very big one, but yes, a pullback is happening currently. Similarly, on this weekly chart also, it is very important. Look at what was happening. So we are at 60 RSI roughly. Again, a retest and a bounce from here can take us into the overbought region over here on the RSI, same like what happened over here. Look at all of this overbought region. So we have to be very careful that this is a market structure that was there since the start of the year, and my dollar index is trying to break this structure. That is why it is very important that we keep a close eye on this. Now let's see what happens in these two ranges. These are very important. So this is the area where we can expect resistance, like we are seeing right now. This is 104.6 till 105.5. so this is where dollar index can reject, and we are right in the middle of the zone. Let me zoom in. on this weekly chart. So we are right in the middle trying to reject from here. So that is why we have to be very careful that a retest of this red line and a bounce from here can be very dangerous for the US stock market. If we see this sort of action, then we are talking about this range over here, 107.5, 108, and a pump of this sort can be very bad for the Nasdaq. Maybe we can touch 14,000, 13,700, somewhere in that range if the dollar index moves in this direction. And this pump is also happening because price was making a lower low, but there was a bullish divergence over here, hence we are seeing this pump currently happen. As you know, 26 September will be the interest rate decision. So yes, further move to either side depends highly on what the US Fed will do. Now we have talked about Nasdaq, S&P, dollar index. Now let's quickly take a look at Tesla, because it is showing a very nice upward move currently. And if you have been following our analysis, I don't know, for the past 3, 4, 5 months, even longer, so we have been talking about this channel over here which Tesla is trying to follow on the weekly, and we were able to grab very nice entries over here, a little bit over here, and recently we made entries over here. So this is very good. Now we want to see completion of this movement upwards, taking us towards 325, 330. That is the type of action we really want to see. So by that time there will be a higher high in the market, and probably RSI will give some divergence, so there will be a pullback after that. But for now, let me just quickly remove all of this. We are seeing an upward move, which is very nice. Also on the daily chart, actually the 4-hour chart, I want to show you something very similar to the Nasdaq itself. We are seeing that the market is trying to form this bear flag on Tesla. So we have to be careful of, let me zoom out, I will show you the levels that are important in the short term. So a retest of this area, 250, 245, somewhere around here, this can happen in the short term. Or if we are talking about even larger retest, then we have to go towards 230, 235. Why? Because this is the channel that the price is following since the start of the year. So this retest can happen, have to be careful. We are still in this bear flag right now. What we want to see is something of this sort now: breakout, retest, and then continuation upwards. So maybe go back to 300, come back down to retest 275, and then try to bounce from here. This is the sort of action we want to see that might nullify this bear flag that the price is in currently. As you can see, RSI is also on the higher side. So yes, corrections can happen, have to be careful. Now on the daily chart, let's see. So daily RSI is 61. So yes, scope is available towards the upside, but again, these are very important numbers. Somewhere in this range over here, 280, 285 can be at the short term resistance. So keep this in your mind, because this channel is very important since the start of the year. Also, if I just quickly put the fib levels on this, let's just put the fib levels, and you can see that the recent rejection we got from the 786 level sitting at $279. Now if there is a retest of the 382 level, something of this sort, then again we are talking about 245, and this peak in volume is rightly sitting at $255, which is the 0.5 level on the fib. So yes, this is the sort of action that can happen on Tesla. However, for now, as we were long since this point here, 150, 160, and then again over here, so nothing to worry about, because our average price still we are above like 40-45%. So nothing to worry about. Even if there are bigger retests, even if it goes to 185, yes, we can still pick up some over here, doesn't matter, because we are trying to accumulate for the long term. And in the long term, of course, we want to see that these tops are taken out. This is what we want to see. This is 400, and as you know, there was a recent news that Morgan Stanley has increased their price target for Tesla. So it will take time, it cannot happen immediately. Of course, it will take maybe 1 or 2 years, but it will happen. Hopefully we will create new highs on Tesla, and that is exactly what we want to see. Talking about stocks, let's go to Apple because some crazy action is happening. Look at this big pump and then dump happening again. So now if you look over here, this area, a lot of volume has collected around 179, 180. So this has become an area of resistance, and look at this one over here, 172, area of support in the short term at least. But this was a very strong uptrend which got broken, little bit pump happened and then a retest happening again. Now as you know that the new iPhone along with other products have been launched, and if market thinks, if the analysts think that yes, it's a strong product and it can drive further growth, then yes, we will see continuation towards the upside, taking us towards the 200 level. Now one scenario that is possible on Tesla is on Apple is, if I zoom in on this daily chart, we are seeing this drop. So let's just quickly map this drop out with the fib levels, and you can see once again almost testing the 786 rejection. Now what can happen is this rejection can continue downwards somewhere into this area 160, 165, giving us a lower low on the price chart, and the RSI will be flat, so bullish divergence can start to form over here. And you can see at 160 we have got the moving average, 200 moving average on the daily chart. Now why this sort of action can happen, I will also explain that. So this was the previous all-time high and price is stuck in this long-term bull flag, and we have seen this multiple times that whenever there is a breakout, so there must be a retest, or generally a retest happens of the same trend line, and then price tries to bounce from here. Hence it is possible, we cannot deny this possibility that there might be a retest of 160, 155, and that this okay. Now I will explain one more thing because this is important to understand. Let me zoom in. So we are at 178 right now. If I see this drop, so we are talking about a drop of roughly 10% on Apple. Now a lot of people will think that, oh, this is a huge drop and it's a big loss and this is very scary or whatever, but actually technically speaking this is a very very healthy retest, and this would mean that we might see price push even forward, because technically this will be a very strong retest, and ideally this is exactly what we want to see. So let's try to map this action over here and look at what is happening. The gold zone sitting at 152 till 160, this area here again is the gold zone, so very much possible retest of this and then bounce towards the upside. Now a quick trick I will show you is, sometimes you need to use the fib levels like in this fashion, which is the inverse way. Look at this 1.272 fib level sitting at 218. So this can be the target once we see a bounce from this gold zone, the moving average in red, everything is there. This can be one of the targets, 1.272 sitting at $218. So this is why it is always important to have an eye on the longer time frame, like the daily or the weekly. Even the monthly time frame is very important. So this is what is happening on Apple. What do you think? Do you think there will be a retest, or no, this is it? There will be support over here 170 and price will try to bounce from here. What are your thoughts regarding Apple? Let me know in the comments. Now let's talk about NIO, because a lot of insane moves are happening for NIO. Let me just quickly go into the 4-hour. So this range is very important. This range is what we need to hold. This is roughly 11.2 till 10, you can say $10. But the problem is, look at what is happening. This is sort of an head and shoulder pattern that is forming, and this might lead back towards this area, $8, $7. This can happen. Have to be careful of this. The only thing which can invalidate this, and a retest and a pump, this sort of action can happen, is if we see strong delivery numbers for NIO. And that is what the expectation is, at least for this quarter, that the deliveries will be strong, and hopefully in that case, hopefully we go back towards the $14-15 mark. So this is what is happening on NIO. Once again, lucky enough to consolidate and buy in this range. So Even if it comes back down here, that's fine. Let's take a look at Netflix now. So look at this price action. The market is trying to make this higher low right now. Look at this peak in volume, roughly around 437, 438, and this is from where we are seeing rejection. Let's just zoom out a little bit. So the problem is the volume is absent over here. So if we are not able to hold 400, which is a sort of a psychological level, there is a chance there might be a drop straight back towards 350 or 325, which will coincide with this action over here. So we have to be careful of this on Netflix. Let's try to draw up the trend line. So continuation of this retest can take us to again 400, somewhere in this range, maybe 395, 400, somewhere around here. So that is possible, but once again, look at what is happening. Another bear flag is forming on Netflix, so have to be careful. Let's go to the daily chart. So on this daily chart, yes, one of the important levels is 400, which is the psychological level. After that, we are talking about somewhere in this range 320, 325, and then we are talking about this range over here. This is 258, 260. So very, very important. When are the next earning? Let's see. The next earning is 17th October. So of course we want a nice surprise towards the upside, so at least the price breaks this bear flag and then continues upwards back into the $500-$600 range. Okay, now let's take a look at cryptos. Long time did not check what is happening on cryptos. So 4-hour chart, recent action. Let's go on this one much, because the chart is much cleaner over here. Let's go to the daily, see what is happening. So yes, this trend line was there, which is now broken, so this is not good, but trying to hold this level 24,800, 25,000, this recent action over here, of course very, very important to hold this. Otherwise then we are talking about lower levels, maybe 23,000 or maybe back to 19,000 on Bitcoin. So this is very important what is happening. Now let's see fib levels. Nothing much on the fib levels. 382 was at 28,000. This is from where we are seeing this rejection. Let's see if you're able to spot anything else. Nope. So yeah, for now this is what is happening, that the market structure which was present over here is broken and trying to form this double bottom over here, but looks like it might not be able to hold this, and there might be a drop back towards maybe 2023. So that is possible. Let's take a look at US oil. So very important resistance that has been reached finally. This is roughly 88 till $93, and this is the zone where we are finally after a very, very long time. So let me show you this retest. So this retest here was very important. Why? Because these are the moving averages and higher high on oil, and we are getting this bearish divergence. So anytime there might be a correction, so have to be careful of this. Nasdaq, yes, Nasdaq, we just talked about this, but I will show you once again what is happening on the 4-hour. So very similar to Tesla and all those, we are stuck in this bear flag right now. So price is trying to come back into this channel, which is nice, because if I zoom in over here, this was not a good candle, this one over here, but we are getting a very small engulfing candle on the 4-hour. And the other thing is, look at this higher low and RSI is flat, so some bullish divergence is there. So hopefully we will continue this pump and take out these tops, at least maybe go to 15, 700, 800 area. So this is the 4-hour, and the good thing is that price was stuck in this bear flag, came outside, breakout, and then retest. So this is what is happening on the long term. This bear flag was since October 2022. So we have broken out, we have got a retest, and we are bouncing from here. So in the long term we are still fine. A lot of people are worried that there might be a further drop, maybe towards this level 14700, so that is a 5% drop, but even that is fine, because in the long term right now we are still doing okay, and that is because of continuous higher lows, this one also higher low, and then continuous higher highs. So this is the structure that market is trying to follow right now, and this is also supported a little bit by the dollar index. Why? Because if we see, let me zoom out, sorry, if we see a drop in dollar index where we try to test this channel, so this drop will take us further in Nasdaq, and we might go to 15600 700 area, and that is what we want to see. But the problem is we want a retest of this area, and we want this retest to fail, and we want the dollar index to keep going down towards 101 102. That will push Nasdaq above 16,000, and that is what we ideally want to see, is these recent tops over here are taken out. So this is what we want to see, and ultimately we want to take out these highs, and these are not very far away now. So how much remaining? 8% pump. 8% pump can happen within 2 weeks if the Fed is not that bearish this time, and they are like, okay, we will increase 25 basis point, and this is it, we'll now observe the market or whatever they say, then this will be a very crazy pump. And I just uploaded a video yesterday also explaining the overall situation, the 25-year cycle that is happening on the monthly chart, which is showing us that we will actually make a new all-time high, and in the next few, maybe 8 to 12 months, around the US election basically. But hopefully let's see that happens. Talking about indexes, let's check Dow Jones also, what is happening. So we were stuck in this range 34 33,000 for quite some time, and once again this was a sort of a bullish consolidation over here, and then we are seeing a breakout retest, and then hopefully we see this continuation upwards, and this is sort of an inverse head and shoulder also that is forming. Now if I zoom in on the very recent actions, so we have to be careful of this wedge on the Dow Jones that is forming. So we want to see a breakout towards the upside ideally, and I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but me personally, I'm always talking about the long side. Like, I always want to see the markets go up, and one of the reason for that is, if I show you the monthly chart, look at what is happening since the start of, I don't know, 50 60 years. Look at this insane pump. So markets are always going up. Look at this S&P 500 last 50 60 years. So continuous pump is happening, and you don't want to bet against this parabolic move. Yes, there are retests like happened over here, but you want to stay long on the long term, that is. Hopefully we'll stay on orange line. Yeah, let's see on Nasdaq if we are able to hold this or not, but looks like it will be able to hold this, because this will be one of the last few interest rate increases that is remaining, I think so, because yes, inflation is picking back up, but it cannot go on forever. So maybe this time and the next one they will increase interest rate, and after that they will be like, okay, we are done with this, and they will pause the interest rate increase. And I will show you what I was talking about, US interest rates. So this is the sort of action we want to see. This is 2000.com bubble. Interest rate increase, then interest rates were flat. Now during this time when the interest rates were flat, this is when the markets were giving us a new top. Let me show you over here, new price scale. Yeah, so orange one is Nasdaq. So you can see what is happening when the interest rate remained flat, new high on the market, interest rate drop, huge drop on the market, again interest rate increasing, flat over here, Fed paused the interest rate, new high on the market, huge drop on interest rates, we have a market crash over here. So this is, sorry, this was .com, this is 2008. Now let's go, this is all happening in COVID, and look at what is happening right now. So let me just clear this out. what we want to see is this will increase a little bit more, and then there will be a time for 6 to 12 months when this will remain flat. That is when we will get a new high on the Nasdaq, 18, 20,000, whatever that might be. And ideally that would be the time you want to exit the market and then wait for quantitative easing to happen, because that will coincide with recession or a crash or all any of those things, and then we want to get back into the market. So hopefully we go 20, 25,000, and then we have a retest of 10, 12,000, and this is very long term. This will take 4-5 years, and then we enter again and then catch another huge pump. So this is the idea. Okay, we've discussed a lot of mainstream stuff. I want to share one thing. Let's get rid of this chart. Let me talk about this one. Yes, kind of similar. Yeah, hopefully this sort of action happens in the long term, hopefully. So yes, now this is Virgin Galactic. This is do or die situation right now for Virgin Galactic. Why? Price is below $2 and $1.9 RSI on the daily chart has gone to 20. So this now represents a nice opportunity, and this is a very risky opportunity. Why? Because their business is not very strong. Okay, they might go bankrupt or they might face financial difficulties, but the upside is very nice. Even if we go back towards this resistance, we are talking about 190% gain. So this is worth a shot. I think I have personally bought some now. The other thing is on this weekly chart, let me show you, which is sort of happening right now. Price is trying to follow this pattern, so hopefully this pattern remains true and we get this sort of an action again. This can give us a very, very nice pump over here, 170, 180%. So yes, do or die situation. It is at $1.95. It can go to 40, 50 cent, 30 cent. Hence can take a chance over here with risky fund and then hope that we bounce back towards $5 mark. So this can be an interesting trade. So I am personally taking this and hoping that we see a nice bounce back towards the $5 range. But this is only with the risky fund. This is not something where you want to put 5, 10, 20% of your portfolio. No, this is something you will take a chance with maybe 1 or 2% maximum. So okay, let's talk about gold also, because recently we have seen a lot of crazy move on gold, and let's see what the market structure is trying to create right now. So yes, higher low and then not able to hold this point. Now the problem is, not the problem but sort of an opportunity over here is, a lot of people will look at this and they're like, okay, retest, and we have failed and we have broken down from this uptrend, which is true. But there is another thing that is happening, which is the price is trying to make this bull flag on the weekly chart itself. So have to be very careful that there might be a retest of maybe 1850. Yeah, 1850, and then we want to see continuation upwards, retest, bounce back up towards the $2,000 that is for gold. So yes, this bull flag is forming. Have to be very careful, because very recently, not that far, look at this, what was happening here. Let me zoom in a bit more so it becomes clear. So this was the trend line. At that time people were thinking that, oh, the trend is broken and now we are going back maybe 1700. But look what was happening. Very similar. Bull flag was forming over here, and look at this pump. So we have to be careful that the same thing might be playing out right now. So my recent trade on gold was when it dropped below 1900. That is when I entered, and then I exited around 1930. Now I will wait for 1850, 1840, this range over here, and then hopefully see a bounce from here at least towards 1920, somewhere in that range. And if price comes into this area, then yes, you can see a lot of action was here previously. Some volume is available. So bounce is possible on gold, that is. But overall long term trend, let me zoom out. Yeah, so this range 1950 till 2030 is the resistance of this chart, which is from 2011, and in the short term this range here 1600 to 1700 has been the support. Look at this action, July 2011 till 2013. So 10 years back, and recently we tested this, confirmed and bounced from here. So on the larger time frame, yes, can be a retest of this and then try to bounce. But yeah, for now we are in this bull flag, and hopefully we see a continuation towards the upside from this bull flag. This is what we want to see. Let's take a look at VIX also, because did not talk about this since long time. And so we are hanging in the lower part of this chart, roughly $11, and you know, if there's a bounce in here, it will not be good for the S&P 500. So have to be careful of this. And also look at this one. Yeah, let me just show you on the daily chart. So this is the number of stocks above the 50 moving average, above 75 point, always resistance, and market takes a dump from here. This is what we saw recently, and now we are starting to get into the range. The range starts from roughly 25 point and goes around 15. So this is from where we might see a nice bounce back towards the upside. So yeah, this was a quick overview of what is happening across the markets. Once again, I would like to remind you of the volatility that is always present in the market. So you have to be very careful. A lot of volatility is always there. You might get liquidated. So please be careful if you are actively day trading. Always use stop loss, take profit, all these things. And don't forget to subscribe, like, share, because we are uploading regular videos regarding the US stocks, US stock market, commodities, all these things we're trying to cover. And if you're interested in some specific asset or some specific stock, you can mention that in the comments also. But for now, this is a nice overview of what is happening in the market. Hopefully I will see you soon. Until then, you take care of your